conglomeration in Pakistani context. So, ma'am, Airby Group of Companies is a conglomerate which has their presence in different and diverse businesses. But in media industry, they enjoy a relative domination over the electronic media or the digital media. With their companies, subsidiary companies like Airby Digital Networks, Airby Films, and TV Production. They have different TV channels with different genres like Airby News, Airby Sports, Airby Music, QTV, and Airby Zindagi. So, ideologically speaking, Airby, especially Airby News, is very famously known to be pro-establishment and having a biasness against anyone, be it an individual or a political party, which is critical towards the military establishment. Um, there are many examples where we can find where they stand on ideological lines. Like, for example, in 2018 general elections, Airway News gave the spotlight or the prime time coverage to Imran Khan and PTI just because it was a pro-establishment party. They they also like try to portray other political parties like PMLN and PPP as being funded by India and other foreign countries. And also, there was a case about Justice Qazi Faiz whereby news showed its biasness by doing a media trial and diverting him the attention from the real issues. That's it, ma'am.
All right. So, can you give us a bit more examples related to ideological entanglements? Yes, it does sound pro-establishment, and I think ARY, especially ARY News, is one of the news channels. Is one of the Pakistani news channels that's that is quite visibly sensational. Do you agree to this?
Yes, yes,
Like,
ma'am. I totally agree with this because, ma'am, when there was the issues, they were quite against the like even before the judgment came, they were doing a media trial and they were doing one-sided coverage on this issue, and they were like celebrating when Nawaz Sharif was convicted.
yeah, yes. Acha, can you talk more about the parent company?
Ma'am, the parent company is the Airway, a group of companies which and they also have businesses in other fields like jewelry and gold and real estate.
Uh,
But their
I
main face, I guess, is the Airway Digital Networks.
Yeah, Sama Betty, I think you need to do a bit more research on this. If I am not mistaken, I think ARY is owned by Pakistan's gold. Like the person is a merchant of gold or something, and his name is Abdur Razak.
Yes.
I have forgotten.
Abdul
Uh,
Razak Yaqub.
Abdur Razak Yaqub, and he's the owner,
Yes, ma'am.
and they work under this parent organization, ARY Digital Network. And if
Yes, ma'am.
if I am not mistaken, I don't think uh, if they have any presence in print media. Is that correct?
No, yes, ma'am. They don't have that much presence in print media, just that mostly their presence is in digital media and electronic media.
Yeah. And if
But they
you
have different TV channels about different genres like sports and politics and dramas.
Yes, and lately they have become pretty popular in Pakistani. I mean, in terms of Pakistani audience viewership. I'm in the chat box. I'm going to write this forum. Is anyone familiar with this Media Logic? There is no space between Media and Logic because it's the name of an organization. It's a think tank. Is anyone familiar with Media Logic?
Yes,
Then,
ma'am.
yes. So Media Logic is actually a sort of think tank, or it's a firm, and what they do is they work only for electronic media, and uh, they actually measure the ratings of programs or the ratings of different TV channels from Pakistan, and they give you authentic data about the popularity of a show. But their work is only related to electronic media, which I mean mostly radio and TV. So they don't do any stuff related to print media. So if you visit their site, the Media Logic, and if you take a look at the statistics, you will come to know that ARY has enjoyed popularity recently. Anyways, I have noted your evaluation. Thank you so much for your presentation. Your full name is Usama
Uh,
Nadeem, right?
yes, ma'am, Saman Nadeem. And ma'am, isn't this airway like this comes under the conglomeration, the media conglomeration?
It does. It does. Although its scope is not as wide as for Dawn, Independent Media Group, and Nawaiba Group, like it
Yes,
doesn't
ma'am.
have that much wide scope, but it does. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Challenge. All right. Um, um, who will go next?
Can I, ma'am?
जी आदिल जी बेटे.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
And first of all, I want to highlight here that most of us select the media group like Jung and ARY because there is the hegemony of these two media groups specifically, and that's I think so. This hegemony shows us diversity is suffering. How, in what way our diversity is suffering, and the hegemony of these two media groups leads towards the great uh, threat towards the heterogeneous cultures that we have and the diversity that we have in our country. A media conglomeration is the is a company that's own further mass media corporations, mass media industry. And if we talk about if we talk about Jhang, there is a Jhang Akhbar-e Jahan, Jhang newspaper as well. There is a Sunday magazine. Also Akhbar-e Jahan if comes monthly. I mostly read this, and also Geo Tej, other channels, the further companies, Geo Entertainment as well. And but if we talk about the ideological practices or attachment towards, Geo is the pro PMLN and anti-establishment channel. Most of time, if we look towards when the decision of Panama came, Geo is reporting that another prime minister not complete his tenure. And if we look into the comparison to ARY is asking that Nawaz Sharif uh, got identified uh, for his corruption. And that is, and if we talk about the in the way that the pro-establishment, when Hamid Mir was attacked by someone, that the Geo is continuously reporting by the inter-services intelligence. And you ask us specifically to talk about in the context of Pakistan, but if we talk internationally, like Al Jazeera is reporting when someone attack on church, Al Jazeera is reporting, BBC is reporting that he's mentally ill, and when someone attack on Christian attack on a mosque, and even BBC is reporting that he's Muslim terrorist. That is actually the hegemony, that is the status that most of media organization done. And a day ago I was reading the article of BBC that in Pakistan most of media headlines are decided by the media owners, that which news is going to break or which is not. This is the job of news editor as well, that the news editor will decide that which report is going to on air, which is not. So I think so. And you also ask us to read a document you share us on Moodle as well, and you ask about specifically 118 page, and there is a allocative control or operational control as well. I also read the whole document, the 10 or 11 pages you are asking for. and the legal ownership and economic ownership as well. So I think so this hegemony that is led by the two or three mainstream channels leads to a great threat to our diversity and the culture that we have.
Is that all, Adil Bete? Is that all? Thank you.
If you have, if someone have some sort of questions, I will respond to them.
Thank you. You chose Geo Group, Geo Media Group for discussion. I think your selection is very nice. They are really emerging as media giants in Pakistan, especially, and examples were also great. Uh, I specifically do not have any question about your presentation. It's part of the same media group that I think Fatima or Nimra, one of them already discussed at length last time.
Unfortunately, most of, I also asked this before, that most of us select the same media group. The reason is that there's only few media giants in Pakistan, and that's the threat, that's the hegemony that these media groups have.
So thank you, Adil. You have raised some important questions. The first question that comes in my mind, and I may ask you that question in exam as well, that why is diversity important? Now you all are talking about this idea that media hegemony, this sort of media hegemony, media conglomeration is creating uh, a threat, a risk to diversity. Why is diversity important? Give me any five solid reasons that explain the importance of importance of diversity in our lives. With that,
when when we are talking about
no,
some kind of authority,
I'm saying
I want to add some point here that diversity is important in that way that if we are talking about some kind of authoritarian government, it's not important. But when we are talking about democracy in some way, diversity is very important, and that leads towards a great society. And that's I think so very important in that context. And also there are many other examples as well.
very good. So yes, just when I give you exam questions, my purpose will be to assess your knowledge application and your critical thinking ability. Adil raised another question, which is that most people, we have a few media giants. Yes, Pakistan, first of all, our electronic media history is not very old. It's only a couple decades old. PEMRA came into being in 2003, and before that, Pakistan had only one TV channel, which was PTV. So we are talking about a media landscape which is hardly 2 decades old. Okay? So of course there will be a few media giants. And then Adil was also saying that uh, Adil was saying that most people would be selecting Geo like Fatima did, and maybe Nimra also did, and many other students there. I want to tell you, and maybe this can give an idea to some future presenters. I want to tell you that if I were you, I would select Dunia News. The Dunia News expansion and presence in almost all sectors of life sometimes literally bothers me. How does it bother me? Let me talk about it very briefly. So first of all, you know that Dunia News, it was founded by Mia Amir Mahmood. It is also owned by Mia Amir Mahmood, and Dunia News is a part of that larger corporation that has established and is expanding Punjab group of colleges. They have schools, they have colleges, they have universities. They are printing newspaper. There is the Dunia newspaper as well. They are printing newspaper. They have presence in TV channel. They not only that. A few years ago, they were also having confectionaries and bakeries in the city. Like remember Dose Bakery? I mean, a single person, and think about the variety of content, and think about the idea of consumerism that we see here, which is literally uh, which is literally spreading in all walks of life, be it education, be it media, be it food, or whatnot. Okay? So that is, I think, an example of conglomeration, that you see a single parent organization and you see their presence and their grab in different walks of life. So this was just a sort of idea that I wanted to give to you. I mean, and I have thought about it for many months now. That I mean, look, this relates, like when you consider the expansion of Dunia, this group, especially this Punjab group. Group of colleges, and there are different sorts of products and services that they are offering. I think when you think about their expansion, when you think about their spread, I think this is very, very easily relatable to the idea of control and conglomeration. The same concept that we are discussing, we have been discussing, control and conglomeration. Actually, the idea of conglomeration leads to the idea of control. This is the ideology. This is the concept that we are discussing. And in your questions, in the answers of your questions, you are also discussing that how conglomerations, like they, through ideological entanglements, they go toward the idea of control. So control and conglomeration, these two concepts are interrelated. These two concepts are joined. As 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 the idea of conglomeration expands, it leads toward greater control. So, and I think uh, we see this happening in the case of Dunia News. Anyways, and if I'm not mistaken, same is happening with Express. um, there is this famous tobacco company in Pakistan, that I mean, its owner owns Express. I mean, all products of Express. They have TV channel, they have news channel, they publish news, and not only that. I mean, a few years ago, they did a collaboration with the New York Times. They are publishing a Pakistani version of newspaper with the collaboration of the New York Times. So here again, we see control and conglomeration happening within Pakistan. And also, don't you see structural imperialism happening here? Like, the New York Times is a newspaper from a center state, and that a newspaper from a center state is collaborating with a newspaper from a periphery state, which within periphery is actually center. If I am not sure about, have you read structural imperialism in in any of your courses, maybe in communication theories, or maybe in any other class?
Yes,
So you must be aware of that structural imperialism, and I think the idea can be translated in the context of this Express, because when you get a copy of Express Tribune, a newspaper copy, it says it has this flag of the New York Times on the top of its head. You can see that. Anyways, who will go next? So I gave you a few ideas about this, about your presentation of this media conglomeration. Who will go next?
ma'am, can I?
Sure, Aksa,
Yeah,
go
ma'am.
ahead. Hussein, you will go. Hassan, you will go after Aksa, okay? Ji, Aksa.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. The conglomerate I have choose is Hum Network Limited. It was established in February 2014 with the name of ITV Limited, which later changed to iTelevision Network Limited on 18 November 2004. The present name Hum Network was adopted in 21 January 2011. They have entertainment channel, cooking channels, and news channel. Their names are Hum Sitare, Hum TV, Hum News, Hum Masala, Hum Pashto, Style 360, Hum Europe, Hum World, Hum Meena, and other than that, they also have Masala Family Festival, Hum Style Awards, and Masala TV Food Magazine. If we look for the ideological entanglements in their messages, it is how in their dramas they reinforce the patriarchal values. They have glorified the image of the woman who is submissive. on one hand they will paint a happy ending for a fun loving and ambitious guy, while on the other hand depicting the gloomy picture of a girl who either speaks up for her rights or dare to choose her own partner or resist to have a career. And these females will have a very bad ending. So if we look, for example, I think one of the most famous drama Zindagi Gulzar hai, mostly the spotlight is on the main character and her mother. But if we look for other characters like Asmara and Zaroon's sister and mother, their approach towards life was more than just playing the role of a perfect wife, and they had a really bad ending. And other than that, they also promote fake beauty standards in their morning shows. There was a morning show by Nadia Khan in which the main topic was how to lose weight to look good in your wedding, and uh, the makeup skill by which you can have a lighter skin. And they have their hegemony has shaped how women in our societies thinks and find things entertaining.
Are you done, bete, Aksa?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Aksa, very good example. I'm very happy to see that your brain is working, mashallah. Like all of you are now participating and taking interest, and very good selections. First of all, of Hum TV, and I think your assessment about the working of Hum TV is very apt, very relevant. So you see, when we consider the contents, and especially the channel like Masala TV, she was giving examples: Masala TV, Hum TV, dramas, content, the kind of content that they produce. They primarily target women folks of this country, of a female population of Pakistan, and which comprise of half of the population of the country. We already know that. And then Aksa raised a very good point that through their programs, they seem to perpetuate, they seem to continue stereotypical mindsets, the mindsets that already exist in society. And in their contents, they seem to continue and they seem to reinforce the same mindsets, the same attitudes, the same stereotypes in people's minds. I think that's a very good example. And Usama Nadeem just wrote in chat box, Gourmet News Network. See, Usama, now your brain is also gearing up and think going in the right direction. Maybe now if you are asked to present again, you will choose Gourmet News Network as your next example. So here is a company, a parent organization that is apparently having chains all across Punjab. But Pakistan mein hai ya Punjab? I know they have. My parents live in Jhang. I know Gourmet has a chain in Jhang. My in-laws are in Bahawalpur, and I know they have a chain in Bahawalpur as well. So see, they are producing confectionery items, and they have their presence there. And now they have begun their news channel. And how does this conglomeration lead to control? Let me give you an example. um, Adil, let me finish and then I'll let you speak. Okay? Bete, a few years ago, do you remember um, what's this organization uh, that ensures that restaurants are maintaining hygiene?
Pakistan Food Authority, Punjab
Something
Food
like that.
Authority,
And there was this lady who was very active with
Punjab Food Authority.
Punjab Food Authority, maybe, yes. And there was this lady, a female officer, who was very active, who would go to these restaurants like Bundu Khan and many other restaurants, and she would check their kitchens, and then she would see that the way they were preserving food, their refrigerators were not working, and the food that they were using, raw food that they were using to prepare food, was stale, and all that. Now, let me tell you that a few years ago, the Punjab Food Authority banned certain ice creams in the city by saying that they were not maintaining proper hygiene, and the contents that they were using for preparing their ice cream were not they were not clean, and something like that. and Chaman ice cream, very famous brand, was included in this, and this came in newspaper. And Gourmet was also included in this, Gourmet's ice cream. So what happened soon after that, Gourmet News Network, GNN, they started doing a propaganda against this Punjab Food Authority uh, 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 officials. And Pakistan Supreme Court took notice that what was happening. You know, Chief Justice has this capacity that they can take actions in suo moto and all that. So they took notice, and I think the owner of Gourmet News Network was summoned, summoned to the court, and he was also reprimanded by the Chief Justice. So here comes another example of control and conglomeration. Here is this conglomeration. Their product was substandard, like the product didn't meet the standards of health and hygiene, and their product was banned, and they used their media channels to do their propaganda. So we see this came in my mind in response to Usama's example. Gourmet News Network, we have seen them using their conglomeration for their own means. Yes, Adan, what is it? You wanted to say something better?
Ma'am, exactly. You are talking about Gourmet Network, and also I want to mention example like when Exact Scandal came, the Bool News is continuously supporting them and asking them that,
Yes, yes, yes. Very good
and
example.
Geo on other hand is continuously manipulating the things and asking everything is going on the wrong way and trying to put something extra on them.
Yes, very good. Now, the examples that you all gave, especially in relation to ideological entanglements, they were not very convincing, very cogent. But the examples now you are bringing to this conversation, they are very relevant. But don't worry, I haven't deducted anyone's marks. My purpose was to help you prepare for your midterm presentation, and also I told this right off the bat that I will only give you marks for your seriousness. Okay? Anyways, who will go next?
Yeah, ma'am.
Ji Hassan, bete, go ahead.
Ma'am, first I wanted to add with that example of female officer of Punjab Food Authority. Her name was Aisha Mumtaz. She was the deputy director of Punjab Food Authority, and I think one of the most active officers we have ever witnessed. Who was also one of the strictest when it comes to hygiene, and she sealed. I think she sealed most restaurants in her in her gym
Even
than
hardly to
any other officer. So, sorry, ma'am.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So now I'll start with my presentation. I also chose the example of Independent Media Corporation. I know most of us already chose this example in last class, but I go because this was one of the biggest media conglomerates in Pakistan. The other one was Express Media Group, but which were I consider to be on the second number in the list, but I still wanted to go with Independent Media Group. So I'll start by defining what the media conglomerate. A media conglomerate is a company that owns a large number of companies in various mass media, including televisions, radio, and publishing. So media conglomerates strive for policies that facilitate control of markets across the globe. So in Pakistan, since the liberalization of media and broadcast sector in 2002, the media landscape in our country has completely changed from one state television channel to more than 71 television channels and more than 100 FM radio stations. The broadcast sector has increased exponentially over the last few years, as we have witnessed. Especially if I would like to add here that if we could go back to 2018 elections, we could see dozens of, I cannot even remember the number of news channels that were launched during that time. So regime of cross media ownership started after the privatization of media in Pakistan, and cross media ownership in Pakistan also has risen to an alarming level. If we see that very few people are in control of managing and distributing the flow of information nationally. So when I come to the names of some of the media conglomerates in Pakistan who are also in control of everything, then that would be Express Media Group, Independent Media Group, Junk Group, and now Why Waqt, and one was Dawn Group. So, going with my example, the Independent Media Group is one of the Pakistan's largest media conglomerates, and this media group or corporation was started with the launch of Jung Group of newspaper, and then later added Geo Television Network that offers a couple of news channel and other channels like Geo Kahani and Geo Entertainment. So for the entertainment purposes. So its publications and channels include the Daily Jang Urdu newspaper, which is published nationally throughout Pakistan, is one of the biggest newspaper distribution in Pakistan. The Daily News, which is again an English newspaper by Jang Group. Akhbar-e Jahan, Mak, TV channels under Jang Group include Geo News TV, Arc TV, Geo Super, Geo TV, Geo Kahani. So the Jung Group of newspaper is currently managed by its CEO Mir Shakilur Rahman, which was also part of headlines and news a couple of days back. So he is the head of this business house is based in Karachi, and as we all know, it's really definite that Jung Media Group and Geo is always accused of being, against Imran Khan, against PTI, anti-PTI, and anti-jurisdiction. And it's also accused of being biased towards special interests, like by, talking in talking in,
I lost your voice, Hassan. All
PTI
right.
government. As we remember, hello,
जी
can you
बेटा
hear me, ma'am?
yes, we lost your
Yeah.
voice in the
So
middle, but go ahead and
I
finish your
don't know, ma'am.
presentation,
This
please.
maybe my connection is unstable. So it's the example I would like to add here with the Geo News is would be the example of Donkey King movie. I hope everyone knows about it. It was quite famous a year or two back. So the Donkey King song, especially it's the song used in as a BGM or its title song, was really came in under criticism by PTA government because they said that it has some affiliation with PTA government, and as we can see that PTA government or Imran Khan's government started on 20th August 2018, and this film was released after 2 or 3 months, I think in October 2018, and the song that was you know Bandron ka Wazir Ala, it said, and again the head of the state was shown as a donkey. So it was really, and there was really a lot of criticism, and this film was really opposed by the government, that they said that it was against Imran Khan, and they were trying to portray Imran Khan as some sort of donkey, and all his government to be really ineffective and all that. So I think this will be the example of Geo being biased or being attacking the current government or PTS government. So this would be the example that I wanted to add in this presentation. For reference, I took this
No, but
for
that's
this.
okay. I don't need references. I just wanted your thoughts. Thank you so much for your presentation. Um, I mean, is that all you wanted to say? Is there anything else about the answer that you wanted to say, Hassan? Hassan, I can't hear him. Thank you, Hassan, for a detailed presentation. You chose two media groups. You talked about Express briefly, and then you talked about independent media group. Uh, one thing I wanted to say in particular is that,
Hello.
Ji Hassan, thank you for your presentation. Bete, I have done your assessment. I will share it with you separately. Okay?
Sure, ma'am. Sorry for the bad connection. My connection is, really bad today.
That's
It's
okay.
reconnecting again and again.
That's okay. For next, on Friday, we will finish all the presentations, inshallah. And if we run out of time, we will join again using the same link. And I will make sure that we do not go beyond 60 minutes time period. And I think 15 or 16 students are left. We will be done with them in the next class. For the next presenters, I would like them to either choose Express or Dunia News and do a bit more research on their content and be creative and innovative about examples related to ideological entanglements. For today's presentation, I especially liked Aksa Zafar's example. I mean, the way she talked about Hum TV's contents and what sort of ideological entanglements she can find in their work, I think that was quite impressive. And about Express Group, I wanted to tell you that it is owned by Laxon group in Pakistan, and which is owned by Pakistan's Lakhani family. And here again you see media conglomeration that one of Pakistan's influential families, one of Pakistan's powerful families is owning a media channel and making up a conglomerate. And not only that, Salman Taseer, late Salman Taseer, which was also Punjab's chief minister. Daily Times, is a popular English newspaper that was launched and introduced by Salman Taseer. Again, you see Pakistan's famous political figure and launching his newspaper and everything. But anyways, I'm going to end today's meeting. Sorry, we could not do more than 4 presentations, but this discussion was also important to gear up your brains so that you can come up with more wonderful, innovative, creative, brilliant ideas in next presentation. Thank you all. I'll see you in next class and we will finish up our presentations. Next week, inshallah, we will begin our discussions with representations, more of Stuart Hall. Okay? All right. Thank you and goodbye.